Hello everybody, welcome. Yeah, we're back again, and today we're going to be talking about Falcon and Winter Soldier episode 5, the penultimate episode. I'm not sure if I use that word.
The last one before the...
Is it penultimate?
The one before the end?
Yes.
It is penultimate.
Okay, penultimate. So we pick up where we left off in the last episode, which is fake Captain America John Walker bludgeoning somebody to death. Sorry, that was grim. I shouldn't have laughed about that, but anyway, he killed somebody with the shield and he's running away from his crime. Obviously, realizing the fact that the whole world now knows about it because of thank you social media. And again, he's kind of like, he's kind of really blessing. He's like settling down from that high he had, obviously, because we all know right now he took the super soldier serum, and that definitely amplified every single thing about him. And I'm sure because not only that, but because he just saw his his best friend die, he's kind of like in that state of, he's just seeing red. But now everything is done and he's calming down, so he's kind of shaking up about it, which obviously is understandable. But the problem is that he doesn't stay in that state of remorse, and it's not entirely his fault, and we'll get to that later. But he's now just kind of like thinking about it and reassessing, and he's like, okay, do you know what, that's happened, we got to move, I did what I had to do, let's go. But the problem is that he doesn't see that it's not even about what he did. It's about the way the world perceives it, and he doesn't take time to assess that. And Sam and Bucky finally come to him and trying to talk him down and saying, bro, like this can't happen again. You need to stop and you need to give us the shield. That just sets him off. He's like, nah. They get into this big fight. During the fight, he rips Falcon's wings off of him, and a lot of other big things go down, but eventually they finally manage to wrestle it out of his hands and literally rip it off of him. And that scene kind of reminded me of Thanos, in the Infinity War, where they were like, dragging it out. Sorry. Anyway, they were dragging it out of his hands. I don't know why it reminded me of the scene, with the Infinity Gauntlet and everything. I don't know why it reminded me of that. Maybe it was in, how do I say it?
Contrast.
No. It wasn't. Maybe it wasn't intentional. That's it. That's the word I was looking for. Maybe it was unintentional, but it kind of just reminded me of that scene. Anyway, by the way, so they finally managed to wrestle it off of his hands, and Bucky picks it up, drops it at Sam, in front of Sam, and in my mind, I'm just like, it really told me a lot about Bucky's character. It showed me that Bucky was not like coveting it for himself, the shield. He wasn't coveting the shield for himself, and he really believed in what Steve wanted and what he believed was right to do. Oh my goodness. Anyway, so I really, that part really got to me, and I really enjoyed it. And even seeing Sam's face at that point, I think that was when reality dawned on him, the fact that the shield can't just be left to anybody's devices. Right actions need to be taken, and we need to, he needs to figure out what to do with that. So before then, they actually have to now talk about the whole situation with the world and with Kylie, and the whole thing that Captain America just did. And Torres, the military, Sam's military friend, breaks everything down to him and explains what's going down, and the fact that at this point the government has taken everything off of their hands and they're going to settle it by themselves. And so at this point, there's nothing that Sam can do but just to wait and see. So as Sam is leaving, Torres kind of motions to the wings, that's Falcon's wings, like, bruh, ain't you gonna take that? And then Sam is like, you keep it. Okay, that was weird, but obviously that is just letting us know that right now the Falcon wings have obviously been passed on to someone else, and most likely Torres is going to be the new Falcon, while my boy Sam is going to be the new Captain America. Okay, sorry. It's it's just me. So yeah, while all this is happening, my boy Bucky Kentucky is tracking Zemo down, figuring out his moves and all that, finds him at Sokovia and gives him over to the Dora Milaje. This scene I also really liked because of two things. One, my two favorite people are there, Bucky and Zemo, and two, their action towards each other. It just tells a lot about them and where they are at. Firstly, the fact that Bucky doesn't kill Zemo, which Zemo was expecting. You know, in Zemo's mind, this guy is a killing machine. He just does what he's programmed to do. But Bucky finally shows him, bruh, I'm more than my program. In fact, I have overcome my programming. I am not that person anymore, and I can look you in the eyes and not want to kill you. And I really like that because they may not like each other, but they don't hate each other. And also it shows a lot about Zemo's character, the fact that he knows that, he knows he needs to pay for the crime he committed. A lot of times with villains, they believe in what they did, and they believe what they did was right. Even Zemo too, though, he believes what he did was right, but they don't want to pay for the actions because to them it's right, and so they shouldn't pay for their action, and so they keep on going on this, you know, killing spree and doing worse and worse things. But for Zemo, that was it for him at that point. He could have even gone after the super soldiers by himself, but he didn't. And it just really tells a lot about his character, and he just makes me like him more. Which for me just shows him being an obvious villain, but still being likable. Is just in very big contrast to the Carly character right now. I still am not feeling this girl, but more on that later. So after that, you know, with the whole scene with Zemo and the Dora Milaje, so they tell my boy that they're taking Zemo to the raft. Obviously another name drop. We'll probably see more about that in the subsequent phase 4 thingies of life. So yeah, that one definitely did not pass me by. Meanwhile, Sam is, you know, confused at this point, you know, really doesn't know what. Not that he doesn't know what to do, but he's trying to find out what to do with the shield, and that takes him to the Isaiah. What's his name? Isaiah something. I've forgotten the man's name. It takes him to Isaiah, the first black super soldier, and I think he really wanted to pass it on to him and say, "Bruh, it's your turn. You should be the one to take the shield." But Isaiah basically shuts him down and gives him his backstory and explains to him why he is where he is now, and the fact that for him, no self-respecting black man would ever want to be Captain America. The stars and the stripes on that shield does not mean a thing to any black man, and that sets Sam off because in as much as he never really wanted to be Captain America, it's still something that somebody that he respected put on his shoulders. So is Isaiah trying to tell him that you shouldn't, or you don't, you should never actually look at that shield as something worth fighting for? Which brings me to the point again, what's so please, can someone just explain to me why the shield matters so much? I understand partly because it was a symbol of freedom at some point, or at least for a very long time, to a lot of people. So I think that, and it's also construed with a lot. It has a very complicated history and past. So I think, yeah, it cannot just be thrown aside for something else. But still, if you want to do what is right, do you really need a symbol to do it? Just be yourself. That's just me, Sha. I don't know. Anyway, at this point, Sam is shook, and he just goes back to square one. Being the family man that he is, he goes back home, tries to settle his family back, repair his family family ship, and Bucky comes along and helps him. They do this body thing where they're fixing things, and Bucky's kind of somehow flirting with Sam's sister. All that goes down. Meanwhile, Sam in his mind is really trying to really figure out what to do next, and they both get to that point where they understand the importance of actually, being responsible for your actions, not just about what people think about you. And they even talk about Steve and what he would have thought at this point. But Sam is at that point where he knows that it really isn't much about what Steve thought, because he's not there anymore, and their choices end up falling on them. convinces Bucky to not just avenge people and avenge the avenge the wrong things he had done, but actually make amends and bring closure and some sort of peace and satisfaction to people around him, which I think at this point he's now going to go to his Japanese friend Yuri and explain to him that he killed his son. Yeah, that's not going to be an easy conversation, but we'll see where it goes. I really hope they show us that part. The episode 6 will probably be over an hour long, and I'm sure they're going to deliver and make it really nice. So at this point, Sam as well, also realizes, I can't keep putting this off. This is on me, and I have to keep on fighting. And he really displays what it truly means to be Captain America. The fact that you keep getting up and keep being in the fight. That is why we loved Steve so much, that even when he was powerless, he did not give up, he did not back down. And that's what Sam is doing right now. Against all odds, he is taking it upon himself to be Captain America. And the whole fighting and training montage we see with him getting more accustomed to the shield and all that, which also brings us to him being ready and finally opening that mysterious box that my guy Bucky brought for him. And obviously, or at least for me, it's most likely a new suit, probably a new Captain America suit, maybe similar to the one that he had in the comics. So yeah, that's what I expect in the next episode. And he's getting ready just in time to face the bad guys, Kylie, which again, like I said, at this point, she's not selling it for me. I really like a lot of, if not all, the MCU villains. They don't just, there's something to be remembered, these villains. But for her, it's like, you were just put here just to have a bad guy. And honestly, I feel like they would have been better bad guys. I'm not saying I wouldn't have hurt too, but if Zemo ended up turning against themselves, it would have probably been more interesting than this Kylie sister. I'm not feeling harsh. She's just a full-on villain right now. You think what you're doing is getting freedom for people, but you're ending up putting people in bondage and killing innocent lives. How do you justify that in your mind? And now she's not going to attack JRC. And I just really want her own story to be over and done with, to be honest. I'm not feeling her. I'm not feeling her cause. And even the people around her are just as bad as she is. Because some people are more, so one guy there is kind of questioning the morality of it. But it's like, at this point, you are still following her. So what are you saying? What are you saying? But anyway, we are going to see them go down. Sorry, not go down. We're going to see them fight. And definitely in the last episode, definitely going to be beaten by my boy Sam. But before then, we also have this character, the power broker, to deal with. And Sharon Carter is looking more and more like the power broker. But I'm still not entirely convinced, because from what we saw with the interaction between the power broker and Kylie, the power broker hates them. The power broker hates the super soldiers. And I don't think that if Sharon was the power broker, she would want to work alongside them, because she gave that French-speaking guy, who I knew was going to come from back from the first episode, I knew it. Anyway, so she gave them, she gave him to them to help them. And if she was the power broker, why would she do that? She obviously is into shady stuff, but I don't think she's as bad as being the power broker. It may be that mysterious woman that was talking with John Walker, that Contessa Valerina or Valentina, something like that. I'm going to call her Contessa. It may be the Contessa, I think, because she didn't really say anything much about the super soldiers, but at the same time, she didn't really make it seem like she's on their side. I personally don't know. But she just came at a very weird time for her to not be somebody important. So we'll see. Speaking of John Walker, we have our first post-credit scene with him making his own shield, which obviously isn't made of vibranium. It's just made of some sort of steel or something. But he's so bent on being Captain America. And for me, I think he probably wouldn't have gotten to this point if not for the super soldier serum, which just kind of echoes what his best friend Lamar said. The fact that this thing just enhances what the person already is. And we are seeing that it has just taken him off the rails. I mean, I don't think it's even far-fetched to call him deranged at this point. He so wants to be Captain America. And I'm not saying, he's coming from a good place, but it's now been corrupted. And it's so unfortunate, because I think he really wants to prove himself to people, but he's taking the wrong route. And I hope he gets a redeeming trope, but from what I'm seeing, I don't think so. I think he'll end up being a real, opposition to Sam. And definitely they're going to get a fight again. Anyway, that's it for me and episode 5 of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I really hope you guys watched it, and I'm sure if you did, you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching this with me. Thank you for watching this with me. As always, I wish each and every one of you wellness in every single area of your lives. Bye.